What's up, everyone, and welcome back to Movie Raised.
We don't know about you, but we are terrified for 365 Days too. Why, you may ask? Because of the books that the film is based on. If the directors of 365 Days decide to completely adjust the books into the film adaptation, well, we're screwed. Keep watching to see all the theories about 365 Days 2 that are so crazy they might be true. Part 1. 365 Days has become one of the most popular Netflix films, and it seems like its popularity is only increasing. The Polish-Italian film has a huge fan base all over the world, mostly thanks to its realistic representation of those steamy moments. The film is based on the Polish book of the same name by author Bianca Lipinski, and the story features Massimo Torricelli and his love interest, Laura Beale. Now, as we all know, this is not just an ordinary story where two lovebirds fall in love with each other. No. Laura is kidnapped by Massimo and given a year to fall in love with him. Then he simply says he'll let her go if she doesn't reciprocate his feelings by then. With a plot such as this, we can expect everything in the next film, right? Now, before we go through all the theories about Part 2, let's talk about the end of the first film, shall we? As we all know, Massimo's wish comes true by the end of the film, and he sends Laura back to Poland because he needs to fix some things in his mafia world, but Laura is not really fascinated by this, and he goes to get her back. He goes to her, and despite the fact that she's really mad, they make out, and Laura tells him she doesn't need the full 365 days because she's in love with him already. Then Massimo proposes to her, and she obviously says yes. Both of them come back to Italy, and Laura talks to Massimo to let her best friend Olga, Magdalena Lamparska, come, so Massimo agrees, and when Olga arrives, she and Laura go on the search for a perfect wedding dress for Laura. So far, so good, right? But here comes the surprise for all 365 Days fans. While going to Massimo's compound, Laura calls Massimo. Then Mario, Bronislaw Warkowski, who's Massimo's closest man, gets a call in which he finds out that Laura is going to die. To be more precise, Mario said that they are going to kill Laura, and they even emphasize that they're going to do it now. Mario then tries to tell Massimo the bad news, but he's on the phone with Laura. When Mario comes, the call between Laura and Massimo is finished after her car enters a tunnel. The look Mario gives Massimo tells only one thing. Something really bad will happen at the beginning of the second film. So let's go through all the theories that the book suggests about what might happen in the tunnel.
To have my best friend to be next to me. Olga knows everything about you. I need her.
Bad news. Since the book the film is based on features some bad events that we certainly don't want to see in the film, we and every other fan of 365 Days have one question. How close to the book ending is 365 Days? Well, we have some bad news for you. 365 Days ends pretty much in the same way that the novel does. So the book ends on a cliffhanger too, which is being solved in the next book by the same author. So if the film completely adopts the story from the book, well, we should expect some pretty interesting events, for which we're going to talk about in a moment. According to many sources, the sequel for 365 Days is confirmed, and we might as well get a third installment of the film, but for that, we still don't have a confirmation. Nevertheless, let's get into all the theories about 365 Days 2 that will certainly leave you surprised.
If I ask you to dance with me?
Don Massimo, you're asking.
Laura dies. So let's go back to the end of the first film. It was clearly said that someone is going to kill Laura, but the great news is that in the novel, Laura survives the ending of 365 Denis. However, this doesn't mean that Lipinska's trilogy doesn't have surprising twists for Laura and Massimo. When we're saying surprising twists, we mean that the novel includes an evil twin, heart transplants, and well, a completely different Massimo than we know. As we previously said, the first film ended with a big cliffhanger, and we all know so far is that Laura is pregnant and engaged to Massimo. But after her journey to buy a wedding dress, when she and Olga are returning to Massimo's Sicilian fortress, the terrifying moment comes. This is where we find out that Laura is in danger, and we all, as well as every other fan of the film, have so many questions. Why did Mario get the call? Who is sending these threats? More importantly, why? Also, who is waiting in the tunnel? Is the aforementioned evil twin? Well, it might be. But hurry guys, films nowadays are filled with surprising twists and turns, so expect the unexpected. One thing is certain though, Laura does survive in the novel, and if the film chooses to go a completely different way, we might expect Massimo to get revenge on every person that was involved in killing his loved one and his unborn baby. Let's hope we won't see that happening.
I don't need 365 days.
Because?
Because I love you.
The evil twin. The second 365 Days novel is called Ten de Zien, which means this day, and the story featured in the novel is quite remarkable. In it, Massimo is on a mission to save Laura from yet another kidnapping. Now, this is likely something that the second film will be based on, so let's get into that story. Massimo fights and saves Laura, and the pair become engaged and gets married, living there happily ever after. But this is where things get messed up. Laura gets kidnapped by this new mafia boss named Marcello Nacho Matos. What's really surprising is that Laura develops feelings for this new guy, and we get to see Stockholm Syndrome again in 365 Days. In the end, Massimo wins Laura again, but she's really hurt and things are not well. What we can't wait to see is Massimo's twin brother, Adriano, who is featured in the second book. Since there's no news for this role in the film, maybe Michelle Morone will play dual roles in the sequels? Who knows? We also need to mention a little bit from the story in the third book that features Massimo and Laura having trouble having a baby. During the book, Massimo is faced with a difficult choice as he needs to choose between his wife and his child. One thing is certain, we should expect the film to get more and more complicated. Also, we should expect a third part as well.
What the hell are you wearing?
A couple €1,000 of yours.
Laura has a kid with Nacho? As we previously mentioned, the second book starts with Laura getting kidnapped again by the opposing mafia leader named Marcello Nacho Matos. And yes, as hurtful as it sounds, she develops feelings for this guy, and when Massimo tries to get Laura back, there's a huge fight, and Laura ends up being hurt. The third book is what made fans angry, to be honest. This is where fans were faced with some events that they never wished happened between our favorite characters. Let's just hope the film won't follow the third book. As we previously mentioned, this book has Massimo choose between his wife and his child. This is where he chooses his wife and lets go of the child. Then Laura gets an alcohol addiction, and to make things better, Massimo gets her a dog that she names Prada. Then Laura starts thinking a lot about Nacho. What's even more surprising is that Massimo becomes a drug addict. This and everything else that happens between them just makes Laura go for Nacho, and that's exactly what she does. She leaves Massimo and starts leaving with Nacho. Then the worst of it happens as Laura receives a package from Massimo which has her dead dog in it. Which of these theories do you guys want to see? Do you probably have your own theory? Let us know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed our video, make sure you subscribe to our channel so you never miss any of our videos in the future. As always, thanks for watching.